Hello again, golf fanatics. It's Billy Ho here. We're doing the U.S. Open this week. We're heading out to North Carolina, and it's going to be Pinehurst #2, the iconic Donald Ross designed, played back in 2014 and won by Martin Keimer. We are going to get all into that golf course and show you all the aspects, describe hole by hole, doing things just a hair bit different than I normally do. I thought I might get into a little bit of more description. We're going to also dive into Fantasy National, who has our models and our stats. And pricing is obviously out since it's a major. DraftKings contest is live. Billy Ho's contest is live. So make sure you, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. If you have, I appreciate you. 2, smash that like button. And number 3, join that contest. Leave a comment in the comments section and pick a winner for me. Let's get going. All right. No real weather concerns. We're not going to talk about that. A little bit of wind. It looks hot and sunny, dry all week long. So going to be very fast, very firm. It's U.S. Open. It's Pinehurst. We're going to get into the course design right now. Like I said, Donald Ross designed a very long technical par 70 golf course, playing about 7,550 yards. Relatively no water hazards, but is loaded with fairway bunkers and greenside bunkers, Bermuda grass rough, native areas with wire grass, kind of sandy wire grass, kind of like what you see in Phoenix, that kind of thing. Then you get approached to the greens, and you can see that that's pure champion Bermuda grass greens. They're crowned at the top, kind of like the upside down bowl, in a sense. So you're going to get a lot of runoffs. Green's going to be very difficult to hit, even though they are a robust 6,800 square feet. They shrink in size because because of the way they're shaped. You also have to avoid runoffs into some of these bunkers. So hole number 1 is a par 4, 402 yards, a gentle opener, slight dog leg right. Avoid the fairway bunkers and find the small green. Do not be left on approach. Number 2 is difficult, demanding par 4. Narrow fairways, deep bunkers on both sides, ton of sandy wiregrass if you missed the fairway. The green is perched with on a rise, a little bit of undulations from front to back. Hole number 3, par 4, 387, short par 4, excellent birdie try. Hit the fairway and fire at the pin. Hole number 4, par 4, 529 yards. Downhill tee shot, so you can be aggressive. Little room to the right to miss. Maybe approach shots running off the back on this one. Hole number 5, par 5, 576 yards. The only par 5 on the front 9. There's only 2 par 5s anyway, so plenty of eagle opportunities here. It's the easier of the two. Then you have hole number 6, 219 yards, long par 3, large undulating green. You miss the green, you're going to have a tough up and down for sure. Hole 7, 424, straightaway par 4. You got to have position off the tee. The green slopes severely from back to front. So if you're short, you're going to roll back into the fairway most likely. Hole number 8, par 4, 502 yards. Another long par 4, slight dogleg left. Raised green, well protected by bunkers. This is where you're going to see a lot of doubles. Hole number 9 is a 191 par 3, green back to front. Accurate tee shot, obviously, to hold that green. You don't want to be short. You'll roll back. Hole number 10, as you make the turn, this is going to be your last par 5, your second par 5. It is the longest hole on the course, obviously, 617 yards. Pretty easy fairway to hit. Could be a 3-shot golf course, but with a run out and if a good, decent drive, and you reach the fairway, you could probably give it a go. Chase it up on the green there, and definite birdie hole. Hole 11, 483, par 4, dogleg right, approach shot, very difficult to hold the green on that one. Hole 12, par 4, 484. Long par 4, dog leg left, elevated green, another tough one. Hole 13, par 4, slightly easier, shorter, 390. Probably clubbing down on this one, narrow fairway. So you need to be in the fairway, and then that way you can shoot at the pin. Hole 14, par 4, 473. Demanding par 4, dog leg left, well protected green, difficult green to hit in regulation, lots of up and downs. You're going to see a lot of putting off the green with these runoffs and very, very tight fairways on Bermuda because they're difficult to pitch from for a lot of guys, and they're easier. The greens are very flat. Also, we'll get into that in a minute. Par 3, 202. Hole 15, challenging par 3. Hole 16, 528. Hardest par 4 on the golf course. The fairway's narrow. The green is elevated. It slopes. Very difficult. 528 yards. Long approach shot, probably 200 plus for a lot of them. Hole 17 is a par 3, 205. Long but reasonably parable hole. And then you finish up with 18, which is not overly difficult. I think it ranks 10 to 12, 13th, around there. Slight dogleg left. It is a hard fairway to hit, but if you find the short grass, you're going to be able to fire on home. So what I surmise is players, I think, can club down, get a lot of run out. So I do like driving distance, obviously, but if you can hit a lot of irons and keep it in the fairways and navigate around this course without getting into severe trouble, avoid the doubles or worse, you're on your way to making the cut, which is top 60 in ties, by the way. So a little bit more difficult and big field. We'll get into DraftKings pricing in a minute. Let's take a look at some stats. Okay, so this is the hole by hole course breakdown from Fantasy National. You can see it kind of starts off easy, hard, easy, hard, easy, hard. This par 3 is ranked number 1. Now, they played it in 2014, so this is probably just the statistics from that 1 year that they played it, but this is kind of how it played. I don't really know what the weather was like, if it was windy or if it was raining or anything like that. I'm just going to go off of what we know, and you can see that this is your big-time birdie opportunity, and it's almost 4% eagle rate. And so you get down here and make your turn, and there's the other par 5, which is not the easiest, second easiest either. Those your easier holes seem to be on the front 9. The first 10 holes, you should really make 4 birdies if you want to compete pretty well, because then when you're coming home, you don't have a whole lot of opportunity, as you can see. And this is, I mean, I'll show this to you, but it's just going to be tough to figure out just from what I can see. You need to be in the fairway, obviously, and you need to be able to hit as many greens as possible, but then you need to miss it in the right spots. If you're long on hole, if you miss left and you get caught in that wiry grass junk, you better be lucky that you're in the sandy part where you can pitch it out. If you're not tucked in some grass, you're going to be screwed, because you might have to be taking some unplayables. But you can see it's the winners. I mean, fairways gained by for the winners, obviously. Putting is going to be very, very important this week. I can already tell that. So you definitely want to have some putting stats. I'm going to be showing you a lot of stats, and most of them, I got a lot of defensive stats, but I don't have scrambling, because I don't think a whole lot of scrambling is where I want to go. I think if you've got more accuracy, the fairways look pretty generous enough in certain places, but I still think players will be clubbing down. I don't think this is going to be a bomb and gouge course. Definitely not. So let's get over here and look at this model. And this is just kind of one I cobbled together. I called it par 70 average, but we're going to look at par 70 because I'm interested in par 70 golf courses in general, because players that play well on par 70s don't always have to rely on 4 par 5s to do all their scoring on. So if they can play well on par 70s, then they're going to be good for this type of a golf course, obviously. And I added in par 3 scoring, which I rarely do, but I think it's important because you do have 4 par 3s instead of the par 5s. So some par 3 scoring is definitely going to be relevant with how difficult some of these par 3s were. Just going back real quick, the hardest one, number 1, was a par 3. And then you do have scoreable. Scoreable par 3s are important. So keep that in mind. Now, obviously, Scheffler is going to show up number 1 in the model, always does. So what I like to do is I just start with 24 rounds, and we're going to go down here and go with the par 70 first. And then you'll see some familiar names coming up top. When I did this before, I got Keegan, I got Henley, Kawa, Billy Ho, Cam Smith, guys like that. So we'll bump it up here. Okay, take your time. Henley's a guy I'm going to have a lot of interest in this week. He's just been playing really good golf, and a lot of his golf has been on harder courses. Just to show you this real quick on Henley. Like PGA Championship played easily, so he didn't really he played pretty well, but he just lost off the tee, which is rare for him. But like long course, Wells Fargo, long course, Valero. So Arnold Palmer, tough course, signature event, Bermuda. He is a SEC guy from Georgia. He plays good in the Carolinas. So he's a guy I'm interested in. I do have interest in Bryson. I don't think it's going to be just bomb and gouge beefy Bryson. He's lost all the weight. He's much better on approach. He's much better. He can putt, and he's good around the greens. So he's very strategical and technical. So I think this is the kind of course where he can club down and hit a lot of irons on if he wants to. I don't think he's just the ego-oriented guy like he was a couple of years ago when him and Brooks were going back and forth and all that. Other guys, Morikawa obviously looks good for this one. One of the other things that I like looking at is U.S. Open history, just because they just play similarly long and tough nearly every year. So obviously Xander shows up. Recently, Scotty, Rory, it's the usual suspects. But Harris English, super disappointed in the way he played. I believe his approach game, he lost like 4 strokes on approach in the 2 rounds he played and missed the cut by like a stroke or 2, I forget. But he might be a bounce back candidate for me this week. So I'll keep an eye on him. A young gun like Austin Eckroat, who finished 10th last year, that guy's got all around tee to green game. That's what I kind of like, is tee to green guys. Tommy Fleetwood, a good safe play. Brooks is obviously a monster, and I think he'll be better. He was disappointing at the Masters and at the PGA, but I think he'll be better. He's a U.S. Open kind of guy. Putting really cost him, so if he's got the putter worked out, keep an eye on him this weekend in Houston. Dustin Johnson, no thanks. He's dead to me. Patrick Cantlay, not feeling him either. And then going down here, these are just your just Stuart Hagsteds and well, then you got a guy like Berger down here. Berger, I just don't know what to think of Berger. I like Daniel Berger on par 70 golf courses. Always have. He's coming back from that injury. He showed a little bit of form here over in the Texas swing, and but then he missed the cut in his last. So he might be a guy worth looking at when we get over here and we start going down the line on different players. But I got this by DraftKings odds. We have pricing out. We will look at that on DraftKings, but we don't have it here. But this is as close as you're going to get to pricing. so I'm okay with that. And so as far as betting, it's just so tough for me to think I'm going to put any money on guys that are just that low of odds. It's just so hard to win these golf courses, win these events. But I will tell you this as we get down here a little more. Justin Thomas, so disappointing. Uh, I was trying to find someone. Let's do the rankings again. This was par 70s, right? So I really wanted to try to find Daniel Berger, and I don't see him. There he is. I wanted to see what he was up to recently since I like him on par 70s. So that was the Canadian where he lost 5 strokes putting. He was pretty much field average. I will say this about people that lost putting. I will totally forgive that. I think people just really didn't take to those greens very well. They were difficult to read and difficult to putt on. A lot of guys lost an unordinary amount of strokes putting, but you can see how he's been pretty solid off the tee and on approach. Does he have the U.S. Open history? Yeah, he's got some U.S. Open history. So Daniel Berger is on the radar for me. And I don't think anybody's going to play Daniel Berger. I do love guys. I'm going to stay on brand. Billy Ho, Keegan, players like that. Keegan is going to be probably a pretty popular play. When we get into pricing, I'll show you a very funny stat. Denny McPutts, surprisingly good on hard courses. I didn't really realize that on Denny, but the putter, he's better. He's obviously one of the best putters on the planet Earth, but he's really, really good on Bermuda as well. So you can see how he's been getting it done. The approach game has been lacking, but I looked at him today and he was just terrible off the tee. The approach game's much better, but he's putting the lights out and he's scoring well on a difficult day at Memorial. So I was kind of hoping to see what guys that fired off on Sunday at Memorial, maybe they can parlay that over into good play here. The guy can play good Wells Fargo, Valero. These are longer courses. And obviously, you want to look here as well. He's got a couple of good back-to-back years at some U.S. Opens too. So, guy will be definitely. He's kind of my brand too. I like Denny, guilty pleasure, but so does everybody else anymore. Hideki on hard courses. Matsuyama, always like him on hard courses. Let's see what Decky's been up to. Hideki, but excellent around the green player. You probably won't see him putting around the green, but the putter's not been horrible, actually. He's just been kind of field average here on some stuff. When he fires, it's when he gains 5-6 strokes approach. So if he's just average on approach, he's just going to be an average finisher. So if he's dialed in on the irons, he's usually typically a decent driver of the golf ball. But you can see how good he's been at U.S. Opens. He just sucks at putting, but you can see his approach game just shows out in some U.S. Opens. So that's Decky for you there. Then some other names I was thinking of. I'm just going to be kind of bouncing around, but the real quick on the model. Well, you can see with the model, I got all the defensive stats, sand saves. I didn't put a lot of weight on these. I just wanted to see them. So, but definitely bogey and double avoids, and then around the green play, and then total tee to green. Obviously, I didn't use any buckets. I'll probably just dig into that later in the week. But let's see, what else did I have? Minwoo Lee was another one I wanted to show you that everybody thinks. I don't know if everybody thinks it or not, that Minwoo has been playing good this year. But he's actually just been kind of blah average. But he finished second at the Classic, which is a difficult golf course. Arnold Palmer, I can't remember. I want to say that's a par 70 golf course, but don't quote me on that. He missed at the Valspar, but 22nd at the Masters. He gained 3 strokes. Byron Nelson's an easy golf course. Uh, PGA Championship, 26th. Just really just kind of average at everything. Pretty decent putter. He was really struggling with the putter. That was his problem. But you can see he's gained strokes in the last 3 events. Charles Schwab was a very difficult par 70 setup. He played pretty well there, 24th. So I think Min Woo's on my radar. I forgot what his price is, but he's 65 to 1. He's just a DraftKings play for me, to be honest with you. I had a few other notes. 2014 players, fourth place finishers, T4s, Keegan, Brooks, Jason Day. Second place, Ricky Fowler. 17th place, Brendan Todd. 9th place, Scott. Those were the Adam Scott. Those were the significant ones I remembered from back then. Another thing I wanted to check was the strokes gained putting on fast greens. And I had just a small list of some guys that showed up there. Fast putting, Thigala, Wyndham Clark, obviously, Brendan Todd, Terrell Hatton, Fitzy, Aberg, Billy Ho, Mac Hughes, Harris English. So that 3.5 approach, if he can just flip the irons around and be a little better, he's a guy that can play pretty good on hard courses and pretty good U.S. Open history. And then you'll hear a lot of people mention Apex ball flight, right? As we pan down here, I wanted to see who's just popping in the model down here. Eric Cole, 300 to 1. Eric Cole playing very well. He looks like he finally found his game again. Let's see, take a look at him real quick. But more importantly, look at his stats this week at Memorial, because he's really, really playing well. I think the putter's back for him, because you can remember when he was just money in the bank, he was firing off on the putter in a lot of these events, and just good tee to green game. Anyway, he's not the best driver of the golf ball. He's not long off the tee, and he's not real accurate. So I do have my concerns with his game at this venue, but he's playing really, really well at Memorial as well. We'll see who else we got down here. Benny On. We know how consistent he's been lately. He's got some pretty decent scores at U.S. Opens. The harder, the better for him, I think. But the putting, it's been there this year, but you still just never know with him. Glad I almost pulled the trigger on Ricky Fowler, but God, how pitiful is he? I just don't know. I know he finished second here 10 years ago, but damn, he's just so bad. I don't understand why he's so bad. He's not old, but he plays like an old ass man. He plays like one of these veterans that just need to go to the senior tour. I mean, what did he shoot, like 95 over this week and miss the cut? I don't remember. Touchdown Tony looking like he's back in form. He's always been a guy I liked on hard courses. He's been playing very well this week at Memorial also, and his putter's just been atrocious this year. But maybe he's actually starting to wind back a little bit to even money. But the ball striking is where he needs to be at, because he's great off the tee, and he can really dial in those irons when he wants to. So I'm going to have him on my radar. And as we get into pricing, I'm going to show you something else when we get over to pricing. I just wanted to get down here just a little more to see if there was anybody. This is actually what we need to do real quick, is change this, to this and put it in order, and then start going down here to these guys that are like 200 to 1. Like, that 12th in my model for Tiger Woods, I think I still have it on par 70, don't I? Yeah. All right, let's just go back to regular models. And while we're doing that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button for me, join that DraftKings contest too. Means a lot that we start getting that thing filled, because it's going to be 75 players and $3 entry. And we've been getting right around 45 to 50 every week, which is a nice little payout. But I'd really, really like to get it filled this week for U.S. Open. Since we got it out early, maybe we got a good shot to do that. I'll be posting it out on X. You can follow me on X at BillyHoSports, obviously. So let's get down here real quick. Akshay, he showed up on hard courses too. Like he plays hard courses really well. Bhatia, lefty. Now his problem is around the green, but if he can get away with using a lot of putters around the green, he might just be able to do some damage here this week. So definitely avoids double bogeys. So that's promising. So ninth in the model, not too bad. Lucas Glover, he's always a wild card. He's such a great ball striker, but can you trust him with the flat stick? That's the problem. Don't know really what I'll do there. We do have a 5K range, and I'll show you that in a minute. Mackenzie Hughes has been playing pretty good golf, and you know that dude just rolls them in from friggin' off the planet Earth half the time. So he could be dangerous down here. Victor Perez been really a bit of a resurgence for him. He's been playing pretty well. He's usually a good iron player, and I just want to take a quick look at him. Third at the RBC Canadian Open. Yeah, I see he putted the lights out, but he still gained 4 on approach. He gained 3 on approach here, so he's got the approach going back again. So that's an interesting play. And never made a cut at a U.S. Open. Oh, FYI, another player that's never made a cut at the U.S. Open is Corey Connors. That is crazy. I never thought of that. See, I could find him real quick. I just looked for a massive amount of cuts missed. There's Corey Connors. Never made a cut at the U.S. Open. That's pretty wild. So, DraftKings contest. And I wanted to bring this up. I always do this every year. I download it to a CSV file, and then I put the pricing out like this so I can see what's going on. If you pan down here, look how fast you start dropping to 7K. You got 34 players, 7K and above, in a field of 150. Look at all these 5K players. Are you going to play any of these guys? Do you see these names? I'll tell you when I start recognizing some names and just give you a little bit of Isaiah Salinda. I've seen him pop up a couple of spots in the model. We all know Sung Kang, but he's hit and miss. Molinari, who just seems like he just doesn't want to play golf anymore. He just kind of just dicks around after he won his big major. Ryo Ishikawa, good golfer. Hoshino, good golfer. Oh, there's Molinari. I don't know who the hell I had down here. Oh, that's Eddie Molinari. Yeah, his brother. You might play him over Frankie. Martin Keimer, 2014 winner, actually made the cut at the PGA. If you want to roll the dice on him, these are some guys that I might start looking at. You got Brandon Wu, Ben Coles, Chesson Hadley showed up in the model. Malnati's playing a little better. See, these are starts to be actual golfers. S.H. Kim, very interesting. I always liked him on harder courses. He's been looking pretty good lately. Kuchar getting too old, long in the tooth for me, even though I believe he had a decent finish in 2014. Shank's been good this year. Brendan Todd has been good. This is where I'm going to start playing, guys. And you start getting up into the 6K range. You can see your Eric Coles of the world. And Tiger Woods is 6,400. I don't know about him. The putter will kill Tiger. Sometimes he really struggles with the putter. This is a range that's going to be super popular, 65 to 7K. You got Hollywood Hoagie, Akshay, Sepp. Sepp is really competing in the Memorial. He's going to be massive popularity. Berger, like I mentioned, he might be a great pivot in this range because you're going to see people playing Billy Hoagie and all these guys here. Then you have Harris English, Denny, I will play at 67. Keegan Bradley at 6,800. Seriously. Russell Henley, Alex Noren's been a popular lately. Then you get into the 7K range, and you got Sungjae M, Corey Connors. Sungjae M went ham yesterday. Him and Shane Lowry looked like they were chipping them in from everywhere on the golf course. But look at this range. Jason Day, Minwoo, Sahit. I like that price on Minwoo. No longer the 8,600 guy in majors. He's 73. So he's playable down here. Tom Kim, Shane Lowry. I mean, you could just build a really, really balanced lineup this time around. Instead of trying to, get sucked into $13,000 Scotty, and that's kind of your pricing that I wanted to show you. So let's go over here and just start playing around a little bit before we get out of here. All right, let's start off with Scotty. Too hotty. Then, like I said, I did like Denny McPutts. So let's get down here into Denny. So we can get back into the 75K range. You go down there and find a guy, then you can start getting in here to some other dudes. And say Henley. I mean, you can really load up on guys down here if you really wanted to. Detry's pretty good on the Apex ball flight guys. I had some more notes here. Beep. Okay, back at it. Like I said, 34 players in the top range, 6 to 7K range. There's going to be played a lot, very popular area there. I'm placing a premium on putting. I do think there's somebody in the 5K range or several people that will compete. It's just going to be really difficult to find and pick and choose who. I mean, you can play any of these guys up here. You can play, you can double up. I thought about a Scotty Kawa. That's going to be a very, very popular beginning lineup there. So it's going to be difficult. Like this, you could maybe say, all right, let's just flip the script on him and do like a Scotty Hideki. I think he was like 8. Where's he at? Matsuyama, 8K flat. Then that brings you back up to 77. And you can look in here and then play a guy like Jason Day, who I think might be better this time around. Jason Day, the around the green has been a lot better. The putting has been better. This is a course where he's got a high ball flight. So if he could just dial in the approach a little bit. And Jay Day is a guy I definitely do not like to play. He had them frumpy pants on the other day, and then he had them goofy looking boxer shorts before that. So his fashion sense has been on tilt lately. But you can see how good he was at Wells Fargo, which he plays well there every year. But he's got a pretty good U.S. Open track record, honestly. So he's a guy I might have some interest in. Thigala is a wild card. I mean, the guy can score, but I don't know if I want to risk him. I think there's many better guys down here that could do the same at $700-800 cheaper, like Keegan. I mean, Keegan could win this golf tournament, honestly. And then he leaves you with 8,600, and then you can just get a nice safe play like Fleetwood in there. Then another lineup, Xander, you can see how good he is. If you want to take a chance on fading Scotty, you can start with Xander. And I think there was something that I was building a lineup with where I had Xander Bryson doubled up top, and then I actually fit Kawa in there. But I needed to find, because I took guys like Keegan and then Denny, and I needed that's right. I needed a guy down here in the 5K range. So that's something I will definitely have to get down here and get into. Gracerman, he's an interesting guy. There's a lot of guys I haven't heard of down here, and you can see the cut rates of some of these guys. I mean, Pete, that's dragged me up. I forgot what his first name was, but his last name's Pete Fish. And then this guy, Ketchup. I love some interesting golfer, these interesting guys coming up with their interesting names. But you can see how it's looking here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there. Extendedly long video for normal Billy Ho stuff, but it is the U.S. Open. This is a Gup's Corner freebie from years ago. Shout out Gup and those guys. I was a member there for a long time, but I just parted ways with them a while back. Just wasn't for me anymore. I just wasn't using it enough for some reason. So I'm a Fantasy National guy now, so I appreciate Moose and all those guys. But anyway, some other notes I did. Taking some Scotty, some Xander, some Kawa, some Bryson, looking at tee times. I want to see what are the early morning Thursday tee times. and see, that might be where I find those 5K range guys to see if I can find somebody to come out and fire a good score on Thursday. And then they're going to be feeling really good coming out Friday because the wind's not going to be too bad. There's going to be no rain. It's only going to be baked out firm and fast will be my only worry. So that's one thing that I'll look at. But other than that, that's all I got for you. Appreciate you watching. And until next time, see you soon. Join that DraftKings contest. Let's get it.